Good evening, my little misfitting ghouls. Um, yes, tales of the unexpected again. Um, three young boys, 15 years old, are dropped off in the middle of Suffolk, I think, on some sort of map finding exercise. The three boys are wandering the fields in daylight, and they are told to find the nearest village, report on what they see, and then they would find some other coordinates and be picked up by the army. The date is about 1957 for this, so quite a while ago. And the three boys, they see a church steeple and decide that must be the town, but they can't actually see any houses. They wander down through some fairly dense forested area and come into a village. When they come into this village, the first thing that strikes them is that the grass is very green. Not only that, it looked like a different season. It looked more like summer, and they were definitely in autumn when they were dropped off. But anyway, the three boys continue into the village, and they get into the village to the buildings, and all the windows have got like a green film, an old green film all over them. Some of the boys scrape back this film and look inside, and inside there's nothing. There's nothing inside. No furniture, no people, nothing. Also, what they said later on in statements is that there was no cars, there's no telephone poles, there was no wires anywhere, and deserted of people completely. Oh, and there was no birds singing, and it was completely quiet. One of the other boys walked across this sort of street, come across another corner building, and inside the window, he could just make out a carcass of a cow or a pig that was covered in just green mold. Again, nothing inside the shop, and no furniture, no people, but just this carcass. They were all a bit disturbed by this and started to try and make their way out of this village. They were later picked up by the army, and they had to make statements about where they'd been and what they'd seen, and they assumed that they came across a village called, I think it was called Kersley, in Suffolk. But if you do go to Kersley these days, it is a very, very old town. A very ancient medieval village, and people think that they were mistaken and just went there, you know, and didn't quite look, at everything correctly. But the statements from the day is that they feel as though they were in a different time, so they felt like they'd moved some sort of time warp or time slip, and that was in 1957. Anyway, That was a quick one. So, good night, my little misfits. See you soon.